Everybody, rock your body. Backstreet's back, all right. It is time for our third season at the helm of the Pittsburgh Penguin. Now, we left yesterday with the discussion over what do we want to do with this team again, and obviously start thinking of your ideas for goals of the season, but don't share them yet, don't post them yet, because they need to be somewhat in line with what realistic expectations should be for this team, and allow me to go over what this team is going to be. By the way, I do think that I did fill out the coaching staff, because like I said, it's just going to hire random people. We don't have any scouts, though. We haven't earned any scouts, so very few draft steals that I can actually get, unless we luck into it, like that medium elite goalie yesterday. But looking at this team, this is what we have to start the year. The offense is going to be Keller, Crosby, Gensel. I am hopeful that Clayton Keller being here, again, we got him for not quite dirt cheap, but on half salary. I'm hopeful that having Keller here on this top line will help him kind of recover and recoup. It is Rust, Malkin, Kapanen. Again, there was the idea if Nathan MacKinnon signed with us in free agency that Cappy would have been gone. We didn't land McKinnon, did we? It would have been Russ, Malkin, Keller, which I think also would have been good. So a lot of eyes on Kasperi Kapanen this season. Third line is going to be Jason Zucker, Chandler Stevenson, and Samuel Poulin, who has arrived and will be hopefully a great player for us on that third line. And the fourth line, I had a tough time, but I have officially come down to the decision of Valtteri Puistinen, Nate Schnarr, and Nathan Lagare. Now, Puistinen's an interesting one because we could put him in the AHL and he could dominate. If we have him in the NHL, though, he's 24. It's kind of at that make-or-break moment for him. And the problem is, of course, if I play him in the NHL, I can't send him down. Like, he's waiver eligible, so it's make or break for him this season. There were a couple of guys that we could have played on that fourth line. You'll see them in the AHL in a moment. Here's the thing. What was our punishment for the end of last season? What was our punishment? It was that we were not allowed to make any moves until we acquired one Nate Schmidt. It could have been Moritz Seider. We went with Nate Schmidt instead. It made more sense, and it was really more of a punishment. So I thought about it, and the idea of Nate Schmidt just being a cap dump isn't right. It's not. What's the purpose of getting Nate Schmidt? The concept was acquire the defenseman with the most blocks to help out your goalie. How is he going to help out our goaltending if he's not even playing? So I have made it a point that Nate Schmidt has to be in the lineup this year. Which means I believe Chris Letang's time as a Pittsburgh Penguin has come to an end. And that sucks. So not only do we have to play Nate Schmidt, but we also lose Chris Letang because of it. And I hate it. I hate it so much, and that's how I know it's the right thing to do. So our defense is going to be Joseph Marino, Dumoulin, Schmidt, and again, Zach Jones, who we acquired as an RFA from the Rangers without compensation, will be next to Victor Berglund, who is a random free agent that we signed. We're going to give him a chance and see what happens. So I do still like our defense, but raises the question on what to do with Chris Letang. Our goalies, it is I'm going to go with hopefully a triumvirate of spectacular goaltending, for lack of a better term. But it is going to be Philip Lindbergh, Dan Vladar, and Joel Blomqvist all kind of rotating in, and we're going to see who the best of the bunch is, which is what we've had to do in our prior two seasons anyway. So it makes sense. But that is the outlook for the team. That does mean we got to look at the AHL. And again, the AHL is looking pretty damn good. You do have someone like Johnny Gruden who, because he's 23, he's not quite in the Valtteri Puistinen role. We're going to give him a chance to develop. But the AHL should be lights out. Like, the AHL looks phenomenal. And again, depth forwards can play in the AHL. They are depth. Otherwise, that would be a massive pain in the ass. And then defensively, McIsaac, Roger, Crawl, Arola, Willsby, and McCleary, which McCleary's not that great, but we'll give him a chance. So the defense is okay. The forward core is amazing. The goaltenders are Caden Primo and Benjamin Goudreau. And then scratches, Jake Lesishin, who missed out. I elected to go with Nate Schnarr over Lasician. So we have to decide what to do with him, and we have to decide what to do with Crystal Tang. And I think it makes sense to package Lasician with Letang in a trade. I'll get warned about dealing Lasician early, but it is what it is. Now, we have no requirement to stay loyal to Crystal Tang this year. It was for one of the 2 years. We were loyal to him last year. So the question is there anybody out there that has interest in Crystal Tang? And this will count as one of our 3 trades on the year. It's not a trade I want to make, but it's a trade I've been forced into because we haven't been able to accomplish one of our goddamn 6 goals that we've had so far in this challenge. So let's quickly take inventory. Chucky, what's going on? That is the game plan. Let's take inventory of who's interested in Letang, and then we'll take a look from there. But Anaheim, it probably does help if they're interested in both. Although Boston, there's a cap hit that's a bit too much. Detroit's interested in both. They've become our favorite trading partner. I think Detroit right now makes the most sense. For you. Shout out to Jimmy Blue Balls on the follow. Haven't you followed before? That name sounds familiar. You. And Kachucky, thank you for the follow too. Why do those names sound familiar? They do. Montreal also works with the cap. Could send Crystal Tang back home to Montreal. I mean, he's from Quebec. New Jersey, the cap space doesn't work out. Rangers, the cap space doesn't work out. San Jose, it doesn't work. Tampa, it doesn't work. Vancouver, it doesn't work. Vegas, it doesn't work. Washington, it doesn't work. Winnipeg, it doesn't work. So Detroit or Montreal seems to make the most sense right now in terms of where to send him. And again, sending Letang to Montreal would make a decent amount of sense. We're not required to pick up people who are on the block, and the problem is there's nobody that Montreal has on the block. They don't even have high-up draft picks. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, that's a thing, by the way. It's going to be, what the hell, they picked up Ryan Johansson. All right. Might have been salary retention in that, right? It would be a little bit difficult to pick somebody up. Isaac Howard could be a decent little target. You also have Norlinder, who's there, but he's 23. He might be in the AHL. But that would make probably more sense for them to give up a Norlinder than it would for a Howard. You have Oliver Kapanen. It's not bad. Foley, Lehkonen. Again, we can't really afford to bring on anybody else. Our forward lines are set. Albin Sundqvist. But he's only a high bottom 6. Of course, they still have Jack Johnson. I don't know how his value is so high. Maybe it is because of the badges or whatnot. There's Marvin Petrie, the other Petrie they drafted. He's a DFD, and there's also Joshua. Old Joshua, Jesse Ilanen. Ryan Paling's there, but yeah, they're both NHL caliber guys. The Christian Dvorak Reclamation Project. The problem is, we already have a set-in-stone second line. But man, picking up Christian Dvorak could work. It would have to mean that Kapanen, Rust, or Keller gets traded. And I don't know if that's worth the risk. You know? I don't think it is. Dvorak can play center, left wing. It's tough to tell what his real attributes look like because obviously his OVR is down. We got prospects. We got someone like Dvorak that maybe would make sense, but later down the road. Kind of like how we saved Keller last year. Or saved Keller. We didn't even make the playoffs. For the Detroit Red Wings, they do have prospects that they're looking to get rid of. Including the likes of Simon Edvinsson, which is insane. Why aren't you playing him? And Ivan Miroshnichenko. They also have Albert Johansson, Noah Ostlund, and Emil Viro. It makes more sense to deal with Detroit than it does Montreal, I would say. The question is, how good of a prospect do we go for? All right. Sergachev, well done. How's it going, buddy? So, do they need a defenseman like Letang? Because again, we sent them Matheson. They immediately dealt him to Vancouver. They could use another defenseman like Chris Letang. They definitely could. So it makes sense to have him boost up that team. And in a way, yeah, Seider is, yeah, that's what Moritz Seider looks like at this point. He can do everything but shoot the puck. He can do everything but shoot the puck, basically. So, yeah. And he does have seeing eye. So, I mean, he can still score goals, I'm sure. A couple goals here and there. Let's say that's realistic. He's got 92 points in his first 2 seasons. So, Letang would fit in with that defense pretty well if they have expectations. You could argue that picking up one of their younger defensemen that they're looking to get rid of would make a lot of sense. And it would make a lot of sense. I'd say more so than like Miroshnichenko, as much as I'd love to pick up Miroshnichenko. And again, they have Michkov now too, which is just absurd. Just absurd. And I think Miroshnichenko's value is going to be too high. But one of these defensemen, I gotta be honest, they'd be very dumb to give up Simon Edvinsson, so I probably won't go for him. But Johansson or Vero would make a lot of sense. Johansson can only play that left-hand side. He'll be ready to go next year. He's an OFD with quite a few badges related to that. Emil Vero is also a left-handed defenseman. He's more of a defensive shutdown option. So I'm not going to go for Edvinsson just because, again, I don't like to rob teams of their top prospects early on. Not to mention with Letang. Oh, shit, if we trade Letang, we're under the floor. I'm going to have to retain on Chris Letang, which will boost up the value a little bit more. But I have to retain on Chris Letang because we don't have the cap right now. So that keeps us right on the fringe. So really quickly, we're probably going to go after Johansson. Thinking that's my guess. Although left-handed defenseman, who do we have on that left-hand side again? It's Zach Jones. So we could run into a problem as soon as next year is what to do on that left-hand side, though. Yeah, Pittsburgh's at the cap floor, as crazy as that is. Because we have Joseph, we have Dumoulin, who again has a no-trade clause, but not a no-movement clause. So we could move Dumoulin next year, if need be, if Zach Jones is going to move up. So it's not out of the question to get a decent left-handed defenseman. Forward-wise, no, we re-signed Dumoulin. Forward-wise, do they have somebody like a Travis Boyd that I can take on and probably play on that fourth line, actually? Or just park in the minors. Travis Boyd would be perfect for us this season. We'll get above the cap floor. I think we take on Travis Boyd. And then, defensively, it makes the most sense. Well, this song's a bop and a half, isn't it? It makes the most sense to go after Albert Johansson or Emil Vero. Johansson has the better potential. Former second-round pick. Well-rounded at this point. It's got to be Johansson. So, they swap a future that they want to get rid of for somebody better now. And Leschyshyn and Boyd, it frees them up of some cap space to make some other moves. So Leschyshyn and Boyd kind of offset. If anything, you could say the value's in their favor because of the cap hit. And Letang for Johansson, you're not going to get too many years out of Letang, but it does make them better now. I don't hate that. And honestly, is there anybody else to kind of tack on here?
Oh, good!
That would make sense. Sports Stats, thank you for the follow. Honestly, like Dawson Drake and Damian Wisniewski, I'm gonna tack them onto this because they're not gonna be anything. So I'm good with this trade. This is our first trade of 3 of the season, but we do have to say goodbye to Chris Letang, thanks to failing our punishment last year and having to take on Nate Schmidt. There we go. So it is a done deal. We'll get in a little bit of trouble for moving on from Leschyshyn that early. And maybe that does change up the approach of the fourth line. I think maybe... I mean, Puistonen, Boyd, Gare, Schnarr. Shit. All right, Boyd doesn't work out as perfect as I would have thought, but he's still a cap whale. At the very least. To have Legare or Schnarr that takes the back seat this year, or it's Boyd. So we are going to sit out Travis Boyd for the year. He won't end up playing. And Johansson will be down in the AHL for the season. He'll get called up on occasion if need be. So nothing changes with the NHL team. And then defensively, redoing. Yeah, we still have right D, left D. I think that might mean that Wilsby ends up taking a bit of a seat. But now we have Jared McIsaac and Albert Johansson in the system on that left-hand side, which is interesting. Which is very, very interesting because we're going to have some tough choices to make there. But for now, we're good. For now, we're good. I'm liking how this team's looking, and I think we're ready. So with that, chat, our first trade is done, and it is time to decide our goals for the season. Now keep in mind, we didn't make the playoffs last year, but you've seen what the team looks like. What are we thinking? 3 goals for the season. It can be standings related, rival related, points, goals, playoff, whatever. Be as creative as you want to be. Got to beat Philadelphia in the division, whatever you want it to be. But let's hear those goals for the season, knowing what this team is. I want to know. Keller on 50 points. I think that's a fair one. So again, we'll put all these on a wheel and see what we get. 75% win percentage against the Metro. I like that one as well. That'll also be a pain in the ass. Make the playoffs. Be better than Philly. I like that one as well. Let's see. Crosby has to have at least 5 points total against Montreal because that's his favorite team. Jesus. 35 goals for Gensel. No. 50 points is more fair. Outright goal. Make the playoffs. It's a simple one. Overall win percentage better than the 650. I mean, make the playoffs. Kind of those equal out, really. Top 3 in the standings, not a wild card team. That's fair. Make the playoffs non-wild card. I like that. Top 10 offense. I don't hate that. Top 10 special teams. Oh, God, that one could be a little bit tough. Something block shots related. Let's go top 10 in block shots. Either player or team. We'll figure it out. Have at least 4 players with 20 goals. I don't know if that's realistic, to be honest, off of how this has gone. Yeah, I don't know about the 20 player or 4 goals. 20 goals for 4 players. We do technically have the potential, but man, I don't know if we'd hit that. But 4 players with 20 goals. We'll put it on the board. Let's see. A goalie over a 915. Oh boy. That's scary if we land on that. Schmidt, more points than Letang. Well, that's not necessarily fair because Schmidt is a more defensive option. 20 goals for a defenseman. I don't think that's necessarily realistic either. I don't think we have anybody that could hit that mark. Letang was the only guy that we could hit that mark. Poulin as Rookie of the Year. I think he's still eligible. He only played 18 games last year, right? He should still be eligible. So if that's possible, we'll do that. 40 points for a defenseman, I think, is fair. I think that's fair as well. All right, we got a fair amount. We got a fair amount in here. I'm scared. Again, 3 goals on the season. Goal number 1. A top 10 offense. So obviously, our goals for has to be in the top 10. That is honestly kind of horrifying. It's kind of horrifying. Spin number 2. Fuck. Top 10 power play and PK. And the last one. Top 10 in block shots. Son of a bitch. All right. Alright. Sure. So, and I forget, in terms of team stats, are we allowed to see total blocks? I don't remember. No, we're not. So we have to have a player that's top 10 in block shots. Nate Schmidt, this is what we got you for. Don't let me down. You finished fucking second last year. I swear to God, Nate. I swear to God. So again, our 3 goals for the year. We need a top 10 offense in terms of goals for per game. We need a top 10 power play and PK. And we need a player top 10 in blocks. Those are the goals for the season. Trade for Chris Russell. We might have to. And honestly, we'll say I can't go out, like preemptively I will say this, like if Nate Schmidt's not getting it done, I can't go trade for Chris Russell and then everything will be fine. Like that's not how that works. I'm not gonna cheese it like that. So we need to hope that Nate Schmidt gets the job done. That's what we need to hope. Honestly, it might be worth playing him on the top pair so he's out there more often. Oh, God. All right, so special teams-wise, we got to make sure that we have a great power play. Got to make sure that we have a great power play. So let's get Poulin out of there. What happened last season? We did not make the playoffs. Missed out by like 2 points. Gensel, Crosby, Keller. Malkin, Rust, and Kapanen. And then it's a question. I know it puts Valtteri Puiston in there. It's because of his offensive capabilities, and I don't blame the game for putting him there. Honestly, instead of Zucker and Stevenson, it could be Poulin and Puistonen to give them a real chance. So let's take out Chandler Stevenson. We will bring in Samuel Poulin. And then we'll have Joseph and Jones, I think, as our 2 offensive-oriented defensemen. They are both left-handed shots, though, so we'll see how that works out. Righties on the right, lefties on the left, if we can. Yeah, we're going to have 1 lefty too many. That's okay, though. That lefty, based off of passing ability more than shooting, should probably be Clayton Keller. So, top unit. I want Brian Rust in front of goal. Actually, man, Valtteri Puistonen to be carried by Crosby. So Rust there, Keller there, Kapanen. Puistonen does have Heat Seeker. We'll put Puistonen at the point. Crosby against Joseph. Poulin, Malkin, and Rust are just guys who are going to get in front of goal. I'm almost tempted to put Gensel on the lower pair. I think that's a hell of a power play, though. Then our PK is Stevenson, Legare, Zucker, Kapanen, which is also great. So, let's get Nate Schmidt, though, onto that top PK unit, because he needs those extra shots. Those extra block shot opportunities. Desperately needs those. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Accuracy, what's happening? Wild and Leafs, it should be a good game. It should be. Gonna be too busy paying attention to the Bruins today, though. So here we go. I think we are we're finally set. So we get those extra 2 coaches in there just to get a full staff. Although I did just realize we need to name a new assistant captain, a new alternate captain with Chris Letang's departure. Crosby, of course, the natural leader on this team. It makes a lot of sense for Gensel to still have the other, or for Malkin to have the other letter at least. For other forwards, I mean, you can argue Brian Rust, but defensively, I think there's no doubt it's got to be Brian Dumoulin as the longest tenured defenseman on this team. And for the hell of it, in the AHL, do we have like a natural leader in the locker room? Jordy Bellerive and Santeri Erola. Let's go for Jordy Bellerive as the captain of the defending Calder Cup champion Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, which worked out pretty well. So Mr. Bellerive will be the Capitan. Take that letter off of Cody Clark. Give that to Erola. And who else can get a letter here? I mean, again, Travis Boyd isn't going to play. Let's go for Johnny Gruden. Why not? So now we're set for this next season. We had to move on from Crystal Tang. It's a heartbreaker, but we are ready to go for whatever this year might bring us. I'm afraid to find out. None of the goals directly involved in making the playoffs, but let's be honest, if we don't accomplish at least one of those goals, we're not making the playoffs. So we start off our season against the Nashville Predators, and we win 3-1. We have honestly had Buffalo Sabres syndrome of winning a lot early in the season and going on down stretches, but we are 3-0 to start the year, which isn't too bad. Accuracy, yes it will. Gonna keep rolling with what we have here. We beat Winnipeg 4-0. Toronto. We lose our first game of the season against the Leafs. 1-3 Vegas, and Evgeny Malkin bruises his hand. A minor injury for Evgeny Malkin. I think now is probably the best time to call up someone like Justin Almeida. I can't call up Boyd, I'm not allowed. Let's go with Almeida because I don't think we'll lose him on waivers. I would be shocked. And Almeida could potentially be good enough to fill in there on the second line. He wasn't even playing in the AHL, so it's perfect. We did beat Vegas as well. So, I mean, the first 6 games of the year have all gone to Lindbergh, and that will continue until he drops 2 in a row or we get a back-to-back. It's a win against the Islanders. We're 6-1-0. We beat the Ducks as well. And Calgary to end our opening month, we lose. But 7-2-0, 14 points through 9 games, top team in the Metro. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Clayton Keller, 8 points in 9 games, all assists. Crosby with the 8 points. Gensel with 6. Jake needs to score more. Brian Rust with 4 points. Almeida hasn't done anything, unfortunately. Kapanen with 4 points. Zucker with 4. 5 points for Stevenson. 7 with 5 goals for Sam Poulin. How many on the power play? Not a single one on the power play. Not bad. Puistonen. He just can't do it. He just can't do it. Nate Schnarr and Legare, they've been awful so far. Unfortunately, that has been a common theme. We have struggled in terms of really getting a consistent fourth line going. 18 blocks so far in 9 games for Nate Schmidt. I love that pace. I love that pace a lot. Lindbergh only has a 907. 7 wins and 9 appearances, so it's not bad. Let's march on. We have a first back-to-back here, as Jake Gensel is going to be fully healthy. And we will see what happens here with Lindbergh. We do get the win. All right. All right. Dan Vladar, congratulations. You're going to get an opportunity here against Vegas as Brian Dumoulin suffers a neck strain. Let's call up a left defenseman to replace him. Let's go for Wilsby. I mean, Johansson obviously could be called up without having to clear waivers, which is awesome, but Wilsby isn't currently in the lineup. So, the injuries are on about 20. Kind of goals for the season. Top 10 offense in terms of goals for per game. We need a top 10 power play and penalty kill, and we need a player that's the top 10 in blocks, which will hopefully be what Nate Schmidt can provide. Let's see. So, Vladar, hate to tell you, you'll take a seat for Blomqvist because you blew it. And Philip Lindbergh will get this next game against the Ottawa Senators, and he loses 3-0. Then we get another back-to-back, Islanders and Rangers, as Gino's back, thank God. Almeida finished with 1 point in 6 games. Well, Justin, there goes your chance of making the NHL with us pretty much ever again. Good work. Let's see, we'll play the Islanders here, and we lose 4-2, so a win here for Joel Blomqvist gives him a great opportunity to go on a bit of a run. And he wins 2-1. Blomqvist, let's go. Carry the weight here. Tampa, it's an overtime loss. Brian Dumoulin's healthy, thank God. How did Wilsby do? Not great. Not great is the answer. We play Buffalo. We lose that one as well, son of a bitch. Told you, we have that Sabres tendency of going on hot runs to start a season, and then we just blow it. Philip Lindbergh, here's your opportunity. He loses. God damn it. It's so predictable. Can Dan Vladar get the win here against Florida? Yes, he can. It wasn't overly impressive. He allowed 4 goals, but we'll take it. Vladar can go on a bit of a run here. Philadelphia, Detroit, and then Philadelphia. We lose to the Flyers. We play Letang and the Red Wings. We don't have anything happen there. The one thing I did forget to do was look at what other teams are looking like this year. I think I'll do that post-deadline. Or we could do it now once we kind of, can get a look at the stats as of December 1st. But it is the one thing I forgot to do was go through what every team's looking like. So we'll do that soon. So we do end up beating Philly there as well. Washington, can we get another win? No, we can't. That brings us to December 1st. So at 12-7-3, we are the second best team in our division, behind the New York Islanders. So that's not too bad. The Caps are the other team up there. The Rangers have a wild card spot. Only team that's really out of it right now are the Flyers. They are continuing to struggle. In the Atlantic, it's Tampa, Montreal, and Toronto. The Sens are in danger of falling a bit too far back. In the Central, Colorado, Winnipeg, Arizona, the St. Louis Blues are tragic. Tragic. Just 8 points in 23 games. And in the Pacific, it is Edmonton, Anaheim, Calgary. And again, you have the Kraken and the Kings falling out of it early. The Kings have been really bad throughout this entire series so far. So the Oilers are at 17-7-0. The Blues, the only team to not crack 10 points yet. That's awful. In terms of goals for per game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We would currently be behind the pace, which would suck. Goals against average. We are also not quite where we want to be. Power play. We're also not quite where we want to be. Penalty kill. We are currently not accomplishing any of our goals unless Nate Schmidt's top 10 in blocks. Son of a bitch. To look at our points. Crosby on 27, Gensel on 22. The top line's doing okay. I mean, all of them but Keller are at least point per game. And then... Holy shit. This might be the last season of Rust and Kapanen on this team. I'm so tired of their inconsistency. Malkin has 6 and 16. We have no depth scoring whatsoever. It started off hot and then the depth scoring just completely disappeared. Shout out to Jolly Joe Mama with the Neil Young reference. Love to see it. P.O. Joseph is doing okay. We'll check Nate Schmidt's blocks in a minute, but damn. And then goaltending-wise, surprise, surprise, we still can't get saves from anywhere. Jesus. Considering where you finished last year, maybe only one of them top 10 special teams. We'll see. McKinnon right now and Scheifele tied for the league lead. Really, it's Nathan McKinnon leading the way in points. Got Lucas Raymond up there. Hey, look, it's David Perron, who I almost signed instead of keeping Kasperi Kapanen. Panarin, McKinnon on 18 goals. Matthews up there. Podkolzin. Pedersen for the Calgary Flames. Dawson Mercer. DeBrincat. Defensively, Adam Fox is... it's Fox, McCarr. Like, we can never really have a goal of, like, win the Norris, because it's never going to happen. Not with these guys in the league. Hamilton has 10 goals already. In terms of the goalies, Vasilevsky is the winningest. 5 shutouts in 15 games for Brian Elliott. Are you fucking joking me? We're the most fun team to use. I mean, it depends on what you're, what you're looking for. Holy shit, Jeremy Swayman, and he's currently hurt. Kemper. Damn. And then rookie race, Connor Bedard is up there alongside Pedersen, Peyton Krebs. Shane Wright's actually playing this year, so there you go. The big question, shot blocks. Oh my God, he's not even top 10. We're going to fail all 3 goals again. We are going to fail all 3 goals again, aren't we? He's at 39. So he's only 6 behind. Oh boy, I am not overly confident right now. I know it's only December 1st, but we started off like 6-0, and now here we are. So